Hi guys, welcome back to Infinite Possibilities, the podcast where we explore the lives of amazing people. Their choices, challenges and opportunities. And today I have a very special guest, Daphne. Hello.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. So Daphne, the question you've been dreading.
Yep.
What's your kind of quick intro? Who are you?
Hello, I am a makeup artist based in Brisbane. I've been doing it for a few years now, and we will find out more about what led me to this point, but this is obviously not your stereotypical pathway to get to this point. But yeah, that's pretty much it for now.
Cool. And what's your makeup artist name?
It's the most boring name. Funny story behind it. There's pretty much no story. I just didn't know what to call myself. So, and I was like, you know what, I can always figure out the name later. I just never did. So Daphne's Artistry was right from the beginning going to be the name, and it just stuck because I couldn't think of anything more creative than that.
Awesome. I mean, it's simple and it
gets to the point. Exactly.
Cool. So Daphne, let's go right from the beginning. What kind of kid were you like growing up? It's hard to sort of describe yourself as a kid.
Yeah, well, to be fair, if anyone knows me, my memory is just rubbish, absolute rubbish. So if you're asking me what to recall from 20 years ago, look, I think I was a little bit more of a quiet kid, shy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, definitely. And it's like a bit odd that we've made it to this point because I think I'm the complete opposite of that now. Obviously, I still have my moments where it's a little bit, things can be nerve-wracking, even coming today. Yeah. It's just like, we're doing this now. But yeah, definitely was a more shy kid. Not super confident, but I think as I progressed into becoming who I was in my teenage years and into adulthood, I have definitely turned the table and have just, I guess, sprouted. I discovered who I was, as much as I have so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say through friendships and jobs even. Honestly, shout out to KFC as my first job. Not even gonna lie, it was a huge, from being a shy kid to having to talk to random strangers and be the first one to initiate conversation. I think that's where that was my turning point actually. Having to, be friends with people at work who I wouldn't usually be friends with. And then, yeah, that definitely helped with talking to strangers and they're just human, it's not that hard, even when you go order food, I was shy to do that. Aww. My mum would force me to go up and order food, and yeah, just practicing coming out of your shell, I think made me a little bit more confident and more extroverted for sure.
That's awesome. We'll ask you for tips for that later.
What, working at KFC?
No.
Who wants a job?
How to sort of come out of your own shell, how to sort of find yourself and put yourself out there.
Yeah, well, I think I've just forced myself to be in the position to do so. Yeah. I think I've always been the type of person who's if something comes along your way and you say no, I think you've done a disservice to yourself by not trying. Yeah. Even if it is nerve-wracking or you have a bit of imposter syndrome, it's always good to give it a go, give it a shot. So I think that's with many of my jobs, to be honest. Things happened and I was like, you know what, let's just do it. Let's give it a crack. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a good attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and do you have siblings?
I do, and you know him.
Yeah, shout out to Nino. Hello. So, funny story, me and Nino, we went to primary school together and I haven't really spoken to him for a long time, but
here we are.
Being his sister.
Yep.
So, yeah, what was kind of the dynamic? So, you were a really shy, so I guess Nino was the more kind of extrovert. No? Two shy kids?
He was even more shy. I would say I'm here level of shy. Okay. He was wait, no, other way around. Here level of shy.
Yeah.
He was I think that's the usual dynamic between siblings. The older one always speaks for the younger one.
Yeah.
And then they either the younger one either goes through their teenage years and become the really loud one, or they become even more reserved, like carry on the like shyness.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think like I was always having to be the spokesperson when it came to like going back to China, like, you know, relatives and stuff.
And your Mandarin is better?
Mandarin is better. I wouldn't say it's great. It's still pretty rubbish, but I think still better than Nino's for sure. But yeah, he's always been the shyer one, or like the one that doesn't open up first. And yeah, we, you know, as siblings do, we would always argue throughout high school. Primary school and high school really, but like I remember there was one time he was getting like bullied in grade 4. Aww. It wasn't that serious. Okay. It was just like, okay, it is pretty serious, but like
really?
He was I remember someone in my grade like pushed him or something or threw sand at him, and I was like fuming. Yeah. I was like, no you don't, only I get to do that. Oh my gosh, I was so like protective in that split moment. Yeah. But you know, when other people do it, it's like, that's my job. I should be the one bullying him, like not you. So when that happened, it was definitely like, I felt very protective then.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, cool. And then, so what about school? Like, how did you sort of fit in the school environment? Did you like enjoy the academics? Were you sporty growing up?
Are you talking about like primary, or just school in general? School. Oh, primary school? I think I always had like a competitive nature in me, but it wasn't, didn't translate well into actual like sportiness. Like I love sports. I still play to this day. Whether or not I'm good, athletic is like another story. Yeah. I think it's just like the competitive nature in me that really like wants to win. Love team sports. I think it's a good mix of socializing and like just keeping your fitness up every week. But yeah, loved it. And academics, I think it was always ingrained into me, you know, North Shore team right here.
Yeah, I went to North Shore as well. Got those little trophies.
Yeah, I've still got them around. Yeah, but I definitely feel like it taught me to cheat really well. I did not deserve half those trophies. They made it way too easy to cheat.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Was it just like looking over the shoulder during the exam, or was it just like the copying the homework? Probably copying the homework is easy.
No, definitely the
How did
exams.
you get 101?
Look, we made it this far. Like, I'm just admitting on camera, like, I don't deserve, like, my grades. But anyway, like, I didn't get caught, so that's okay. Yeah, so it was good times. Yeah. I wasn't always super academic. I feel like I was always that last-minute person with assignments and exams. I would pull all-nighters. I think that was my thing. Oh, wow. And like even in primary school, I was staying up till midnight before going to sleep. I think that was like real. I think that may have caused my terrible like memory, but yeah, pulling all-nighters was very common for me when it was around exam time. And I think I didn't have any coffee either. It was just pure adrenaline like running through me in high school. Uni was a bit of a different story. That's when I was introduced to coffee and Monster drinks. So that was assisting me throughout exam block during uni. I would always say I tried really hard in uni and like just school in general, regardless of like whether or not I enjoyed it. Once again, it's the competitive nature in me that wanted to do well and, you know, so whether or not I'm naturally gifted in the academic or sporty field, it's a bit of a grey area. I think it's just the competitive nature that pulls me through. And maybe even a little bit of ego.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, that's cool. Did you have any favourite subjects? Were you the classic, likes Asian, likes maths?
I actually did enjoy math. I think because it's so black and white, it's just easy to figure out if you're doing the right thing. And it was a little bit satisfying when you got it right as well. Yeah. And just figuring out how to like tackle a question. I'll definitely say English was probably my worst subject. I was friends with the docs of the school.
Wow, that's good.
And I sent her like my assignment maybe like a night before, and I was like, can you just like have a skim through it and just check it out? She did. She made fixes. Like, love her to bits for it. Yeah. Still got C pluses and B minuses. I don't know how that happened because the ducks. Either she was like, you know, bringing me down on purpose, which I hardly doubt we're good friends even to this day. But yeah, it was just, I don't think it was my thing.
Just couldn't lift
Yeah, there was nothing. Maybe it was like going to be like a C minus, and she brought it up to a C plus. You know, like
she did something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, cool. And then when you were younger, did you sort of have any visions of what you wanted to be growing up, or did your parents want you to be like anything in particular?
No, I think my parents are they kind of were a little bit more flexible with what I wanted to do. It was never forceful or anything. I think it was because they came in their early 20s as well, so they kind of like, you know, blended in quite well into Western culture.
Like Aussie parents.
Yeah, I would say like there's elements of both, right? You know, there's a reason I'm this competitive. they ingrained into me, like you've got to do, so if you want to do something, you do something well. So that's number one, but then they also give me the flexibility to choose whatever I wanted to do. They didn't care about my report cards. They didn't force me to do any certain subjects. It was just all up to me. I think it's also because of the nature of my environment. My group was quite academic, and so they were doing lots of sciences and math. And you know how at least back, you were in OP as well. Yeah. So OP system is like very like heavily weighted based on your subjects that you've chosen, and I picked it based on that. If I could go back in time, I would have switched so many things around. I would definitely have dropped chemistry. Oh my god, that shit doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make any sense to me. And I would have done art or something. I feel like that would have been so fun, relaxing. It wouldn't have been like, it's not that I hated school or anything, but it would have made it more enjoyable for sure.
Yeah. Did you end up doing Suicide 6?
No, I didn't do physics because that doesn't make sense in my head.
Do that, yeah.
Physics doesn't make sense to me. What is gravity?
Yeah.
I don't know. I did Chinese instead, which was like a bit of an easier subject for me to pick up. But to be fair, most of my class were like native speakers, so it was a little bit trickier.
Oh, really? Yeah. And it adds points to your OP. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Got to play the system.
Yeah. Cool. And random question, what was it like going to an all-girls school? Was it weird? And then you went to uni and there's like, wow, there are men. Like,
I think it wasn't weird for me personally because I went to primary school with a like co-ed primary school.
Yeah.
So talking to guys was never really an issue. And but when I went into a private school, I definitely was a little bit like, oh wow, cool. There's a lot of like estrogen around. It wasn't like an issue or anything, but it made me value girl friendships a lot more. Yeah. I think that carried into uni as well. Like it's I would say most of the people around me who are really close are mainly female now. And even with the nature of my job now, doing makeup and lashes, brows, all that kind of stuff, it made me feel like this was where I was supposed to be. I feel a lot more comfortable around girls. Because men are pigs, right? So, loved
shout out
it.
to Daphne's boyfriend.
He passes the test. He passes, yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. And so did you find that it was more competitive in an all-girls school? Did that drive you to be more competitive? Or not particularly, huh?
I don't think competitive was the right word.
Okay.
Unless my memory just sucks and I just don't remember what I felt. I don't think competitive was the right word. I think it was still very, whether or not I went to a co-ed school, it would have been the same anyway.
Yeah, fair.
Everyone was focused on themselves and, well, at least for me, I'm just speaking for myself, I didn't really compare myself that much. I know like some girls were smarter, some girls were sportier, but I never felt like a sense of jealousy or envy from them at all. If anything, I'm just like, good for them. That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And then when you finished high school and you were thinking about the future, what was going through your mind?
Oh, absolutely nothing. The reason I say that is because up until that point, I was just focused on my subjects. I didn't think about the future. I didn't think about what I wanted to do. And I think that's a very common pathway for many high school kids. And you know what, like I see so many like grade 12 kids who come to me for formals and stuff to get their makeup done. And that's always a common question I tend to ask them. What do you want to do in the future? And half the time they're either really sure, half the time they're like absolutely no clue. And I think that's completely fair because we haven't been fed the right resources to figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life at 17, 16, 17. That doesn't make any sense. So if they're like unsure, I always encourage like, look, if you're the type of person who is quite like self-driven, you can absolutely take a gap year because you'll make your way, you'll circle back into going into higher education or finding a job that's going to lead you into the career that you want to go to. But if you feel like you're not the type, like if you don't go to uni and you're not very self-motivated, it's going to kind of put a stop there. You're not ever going to go back to uni, right?
Yeah.
So I think it really depends on who you are and what you think, you know, yourself to be. I know for some people, if they didn't go to uni to start off with, there's no way they would have gone back, right?
Yeah.
They wouldn't have considered it. They would just gone into straight to full-time work and just kept riding that wave. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. But when I was in high school, definitely I almost felt this kind of pressure to pick a uni degree. I think based on my, like, you know, the private school, everyone, the teachers even were kind of force-feeding down this narrative that you've got to go to uni. And that's kind of why I just went for it and picked finance and psychology.
Wow, it sounds like a cool combo, you know, the mind and the money.
Yeah, I guess so. I've always wanted to do psychology. I just think it's really interesting. Whether or not I pursued it in the future was another story, but I definitely do think everyone needs to know a little bit about it because you meet some weird people.
Yeah. Categorize them.
No, I think it's more like if you don't understand how, I mean, it's a learning journey, but like it's better to understand yourself and others, and then you become a much more empathetic person. But there is a fine line between empathy and letting people get away with things that aren't, they shouldn't really. That was a tough lesson I had to learn. But yeah, I loved psychology. Don't think I would have ever gone down that pathway professionally. But yeah, that's why I study psychology and finance. I thought, like, you know, it's quite a broad subject. You can go down like many roles. Like it doesn't matter which pathway you want to go. It's always quite
broad.
Quite broad, exactly. And I thought, like, you know, weighing my options, didn't know what I wanted to do. Finance seemed like a good option in terms of like figuring out what pathway I did want to take. But it was kind of a double-edged sword because I got to the end of my degree and I was like, wow, there's so many pathways I could go. I don't know what to do now. So yeah, it really depends on you. I just never saw myself going into health. I don't think I could do it personally. But yeah, definitely picked finance and psychology for very different reasons.
Yeah, cool. And then what happened when you graduated?
I graduated mid-COVID when it just first started. Yeah, it was a terrible time to be, you know.
Did you have your graduation ceremony online?
No, they sent my grad certificate in the Auspost.
Wow.
And that was definitely something not everybody can say they've experienced. So that was well, I mean, they asked us if we wanted to graduate the following semester. I think that's when they picked it up again, but I was like, what's the point?
Yeah.
There's no point. I already got it anyway. There's no point walking across the stage for it. But yeah, like after grad, I eventually found a grad position. Definitely wasn't the line of work I wanted to get into. It was more management rather than finance, but still not my cup of tea regardless. And then afterwards, 6 months into my grad position, my boss, in a very fatherly way, was like, do you enjoy this job? And at the time I was, at the time I was balancing the beginning of Daphne's artistry.
Yeah.
And I was taking annual leave on days to go service clients, even if it was just one client. I was like, stuff this job. I'm going to take annual leave so I can do one makeup appointment for someone else. And that's when he sat me down and was like, you know, that's not normal for you to do that. You know, like who takes annual leave to do more work outside of work? And he made me like realize like, hey, maybe this isn't the pathway I want to be in. And that like low key, he was just saying like, yeah, you're wasting your time. Don't bother. But in a very nice way. Had it not been for him, maybe I wouldn't have decided to quit so soon. And then so I worked part-time jobs to balance with my makeup artistry. Like if you ask any makeup artist when they first start out, they're not doing this full-time. There is no way that they're doing it full-time. You've always got to like hustle part-time and also do that. So for a few years, I think maybe a year or two, I was like working 7 days a week to like really make this work. And I think there was no such thing. I think, I didn't feel burnt out or anything at the time because I enjoyed, like it almost didn't feel like I was working when I was doing makeup, lashes and brows and stuff, but it definitely felt like work when I was going to part-time jobs. So you can see like my passion was still leaning towards makeup and like beauty in general. So that's what happened after grad.
Wow, was it an easy decision to just leave 6 months in? Because usually I think the grad role is like either a year or 2 years.
So I believe my position was for a year. I think it was a year. No, I would say it wasn't difficult.
You're brave.
Well, I think my manager...
Can't remember.
My manager made it seem like it was an easy decision because, you know, he said, do you see yourself in my chair in like 10 years' time? And I was like, you know what, I actually don't. So it wasn't a difficult decision at all. It was difficult in the sense that I had no backup plan. I had no, usually when you quit a job, you tend to have a follow-up job. The reason you're quitting is because you're going somewhere else. To be fair, that's what was happening to me, but it wasn't sustainable for a super long time. I think like it was easy because I hated it.
Yeah. And were you good at it?
Good is one thing, motivated is another, right? I had sales experience in the past, so it was like for a retail company, and we had to do some sort of like sales actually on the floor, and that was part of the job. I think because my passion wasn't in the industry I was in, I kind of just didn't care, right? And I think that really impacts the work that you do. Yeah. So, no, did not enjoy it.
Yeah. Was it like you really dreaded every morning, or like what was the enjoyment level? Was it just like, this just kind of sucks? Or was it like, I absolutely hate this?
I think because it was only 6 months, it was like, oh, this sucks.
Okay.
That wasn't my reason to wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
But had I been there for 12, 18 months, I probably would have been the latter.
Yeah.
Like, I freaking hated this. Like, get me out of here. Yeah.
Cool. Tell me the beginning of Daphne's artistry. So when did it start? It started in uni, huh?
No, actually. It started after uni, I believe. If my memory serves me right.
Well, according to your LinkedIn profile, I think it was July 2020.
Yep, so that would have been when I graduated.
Oh, you graduated mid-year?
No, I graduated mid-year. Yes, mid-year. So when I started my full-time job, I started it. So it was like my side gig alongside my full-time job.
And how did you like sort of start? Was it just people asking you, hey, do my makeup?
Well, I think I've always been known for that person, even in uni, to be that person to like do my makeup maybe like at 12 a.m. and post a photo on Instagram, like stories.
Yeah.
I probably like bothered so many people, but I literally did not care. It was just for my amusement and I really enjoyed it. And so everyone kind of like knew me as that like midnight makeup girl who posted like selfies of herself and her like weird
midnight makeup girl. That could be a great, brand.
Yeah, I'm gonna trademark that so no one steal that. So like I was doing that, and like girls that I wasn't super close with would message me like, oh, you know, what foundation would you recommend, or blah blah blah. Cool. like they would actually ask me makeup questions, and like I wasn't even close to them. So I felt like that was so cool to even have that sort of reputation at the back of people's minds. And so I made a second account where I did post all of my makeup. So this wasn't even Daphne's Artistry yet. This was Mooncakey.
Yeah, my mooncake.
One of my friends has me on her contact list as that in Chinese, and I just added it because Mooncake was already taken as a username. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make it cakey because it's like makeup related.
No,
so I
that's
like made it a thing, and so I started posting on there, and I kept doing it, and then one of my close friends from high school referred me like two of her like friends, her younger friends, who were going to go to their formal. She was like, hey, like, can you do their makeup, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous because I've never really done it on other people. It was always on myself. And for formal too, like you trust me enough to do your formal makeup. That is so cool. So that's actually how I started, because I fell into it. I was like, you know what, like I said, you just say yes to opportunities. And I said yes to that, and that's led me to this point. So yeah, that's literally how the journey started, and just needed to make a separate Instagram account, which was Daphne's Artistry, and that's how it continued on.
Cool. And what age did you get into makeup?
You mean in general?
Like, did you start like learning how to do makeup in primary school? And
Definitely not. I hated makeup in high school because my first experience with makeup was in grade 8. Me and my girlfriends had me and my girlfriends had a dance to go to, like a school dance, and there were going to be boys there.
Yes, the once a year see boys.
And then, so we were like, you know what, let's put some makeup on. And at the time, only one of my girlfriends had experience putting makeup on. So we all went to her house beforehand to get ready, and she did put makeup on all of us. She put, I remember distinctly, like, it was the most horrible feeling ever. She was using like a purple eyeliner, like a pencil liner, and then she was drawing in my waterline, like underneath. And because I've never had like anything near my eyes before, it's a very like weird feeling for the first time to be like putting like something so close to your eyeball. And ever since then, I was like, oh my God, makeup sucks. Like, I felt like I looked good, but it wasn't that good. But I just knew that it wasn't going to be something that I was going to be interested in straight away. The turning point for me was when I was in grade 10. I was at a family friend's house, and she's 2 years older. Her and all her girlfriends were over at her place, and they're like, you know what, Daphne, come over here, we're going to do makeup on you. And I was like, you know what, they're older now, like they should know like a little bit more than I do. So I was just sitting there being their guinea pig, and they put makeup on me. And after like, 20 odd minutes, I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh damn, I look good. So definitely that was when I was like, okay, if makeup is done correctly and things that are suited to your features, then yeah, absolutely it can look good. And I think that's something that people don't usually know when it comes to makeup. They're a little bit daunted by like the process of it. There's so many steps that goes behind it. But honestly, I find it like more of a self-care thing. It feels nice. It feels like you're pampering yourself.
Yeah,
and
make yourself look good, feel good.
Exactly. And so when you're in photos, it just like you feel more confident being in them. And that was when I was like, okay, makeup is cool. I reckon I can get into this. And my dad took me to Mecca and bought my first like eyeshadow palette. I still kept it up until a few months ago. I was like, you know what, I need to let this go. It's been like 10 years. I don't use it. Oh my God, I do not use it. But it was just more, sentimental. It was the Naked 2 palette.
If you like sold it, like, this is your OG palette, I'm sure it would.
No, absolutely not. I would not sell that to anybody.
It's an artifact.
That's a freaking crime. No. Yeah.
Wow, cool. And then when you got straight into it, how did you learn? Was it just kind of like you playing around at home, or were you like searching on YouTube?
It was the magical era of YouTube.
Yeah.
Back then, 2015 to 2020, 2018. That was like a beauty, they were called makeup gurus. People were calling them that. The makeup gurus of the internet, of YouTube. And they were just like people that I'd watch like day in, day out. And that's where I got my source of inspiration from. Now it's kind of like a lost art almost. It's not as common to find these YouTube tutorials or whatever. Now everything's like short form media, like TikTok and, you know, YouTube Shorts, Reels, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, like, I don't know, that during that time it was just really cool to see how people they created art really on their faces. Even now there's still like that, but it's not that in-depth like 20-30 minute video anymore. It's just like 20-30 seconds now. It's very different.
Did you have any faves, beauty bloggers?
Yeah, I mean, I think like YouTube like OGs was like Bub's Beauty.
Yeah.
Because she was Asian, and like it's just cool to see someone on the internet who looked like you and was doing things that you were interested in. Michelle Phan, obviously, and even till this day I still watch Kathleen Lights. I don't know if you know her, but like she's been like, she's such a hilarious character. Love her vibe, and couldn't be like more opposite in how we look and our facial features and skin type, but I would still take all her recommendations to the heart. Like, she has dry skin, I've got like combination oily, and she'll be like, this is an amazing product, like foundation for dry skin. I'll be like, okay, let me pick that up real quick because I loved her that much. But yeah, those were definitely my favorites.
Yeah, and then you became a makeup YouTuber yourself. Quick plug.
I haven't uploaded in like maybe 5, 6, 7 years. It's definitely been a long time. I think I watched a video like maybe a few months back, and I was like, damn, this is kind of good. Like, I don't know why I didn't pop off. But yeah, it was just like for fun. I didn't take it too seriously. If people wanted to watch it, they would watch it. Yeah, it wasn't anything crazy. I think I have like 150 subscribers on there. But yeah, it was just for fun, all good fun.
Yeah, and was this when you started Daphne's Artistry? Like, which one came first?
The YouTube channel came first.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so YouTube channel came first when I just graduated high school. I think a few months after I graduated high school.
Wow, you really were like up there in the trending, like hitting that trend early.
Oh, I don't think so. I was definitely not early, but I was doing it because I enjoyed it and I wanted to learn how to, like, I've always been slightly interested in film and like editing and all that kind of stuff. So it was definitely something I was like very willing to try out. Yeah. Yeah.
Was it just kind of like a decision you made like on the moment and then you just started, or how did that kind of process?
I actually don't remember.
Okay.
I can't remember why I started. I think I just I've always wanted to, because I've been watching YouTube for so long. I was like, you know what, let's just give it a go. Had a nice camera and just went for it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. And why'd you stop posting? I remember watching some of them. They're pretty funny. You had some pretty funny vlogs.
Oh my God.
You and your brother.
I stopped making them. There were a few reasons why I stopped, but I think like it was definitely just balancing uni work as well. It was getting a bit tricky. And you can only make so many like makeup tutorials before it gets like pretty mundane, right? So I feel
vlogs.
What is there to do in Brisbane? Like, what can you vlog in Brisbane? Be for real. Be for real.
Yeah, cool. But you started your second channel. Plug.
I started my second channel recently with my boyfriend, boyfriend Tin, and he was the one who like started it.
Oh, wow.
He was the one who initially wanted to like start filming, and it was when we went to Thailand in December recently, and you can see me in half those videos. I was pissed off. The reason being, this was his first time doing like camera work and vlogging. So the way that he was vlogging was just like very like, so this is the camera, right?
Yeah.
He's just like walking around and he's like doing this like everywhere. So I'm like, first of all, camera stabilization is great.
Yeah.
However, it's not going to help when you're doing this, right?
Yeah.
So I just didn't agree with how he was vlogging, but they turned out great. You know, check them out.
Yeah.
But then when we were going to Korea in February, like literally 2 months later, I was like, look, let's just do this together. Let's have a bit of fun with it and just like remember what we did that day. And like we can help each other with editing and all that kind of stuff. So I bought us a new camera and we just like, you know what, let's just give it a go. Like it's just a little fun hobby for us to do. And that's why, this time around the Korea videos are slowly rolling out. And it's been good fun. Just even editing, like improving how our edits are and just being able to like learn how to do all those things is a good skill to have too, especially in this day and age. You kind of need to know how to like learn how to edit and use like software, you know, microphone equipment. That's all really important too. Yeah.
Cool. And when you're traveling and when you're like filming your travels, does it sort of change the experience a little bit, or is it just as fun? Because does it kind of like, I gotta, you know, say something funny now to, you know, get the audience entertained?
Never thought about it like that. I don't think we have changed ourselves much based on like whether or not the camera's on or off. I think my boyfriend, he's always like really goofy anyway. It would have been something that he would have done anyway, but now it's just on camera. The difference is it's just on camera, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like I don't think it's changed the experience. Sometimes it does get in the way of actually being in the moment, I will say. But at the end of the day, you're remembering that day, well, especially to assist my memory, just to like see what we did throughout the day and like the little nuances, you know, like how we felt at the moment, how like what the actual, you know, dish was and blah, blah, blah. It's just nice to look back on every now and again.
Yeah. And what was the story about how you met your boyfriend?
We actually met on Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah, that's modern love for you, I guess. Yeah. I had my fair share of using like dating apps and I was like, you know what, this ain't it. I think the intention when you're using dating apps is like you're out there scouring for someone to go on a date with, and that's not really something that I vibe with. Whereas when it's on Instagram, it's a little bit like, is he not? I found like there was a mutual friend who tagged him in the photo and I was like, oh, he's cute, let me follow him. And he followed me back and then he's like messaged me as well. So we're always on this debate of who made the first move, exactly. Because like, you know, like if I follow him doesn't mean he has to message me. But if I hadn't followed him first, he wouldn't have messaged me. So yeah.
What was the great pickup line, if you remember?
Oh, it was terrible. It wasn't even a pickup line. I think I needed it to not be a pickup line for me to actually reply to him. Because had it been a pickup line, I would have been like, ew, gross, ick. It's too intentional, and that's why I can't.
Too cheap.
That's why I can't use dating apps, because I know they have like an ulterior motive. They want to eventually, you know, like if all goes well, they're going to date with you. But when it was on Instagram, it was a little bit like inconspicuous, like you don't really know what his motive exactly. So, you know, he definitely didn't like use cheesy pickup line. Thank God he didn't. Yeah.
Nice. And what was it like when you met him? Did you just hit it off? Because you guys have like very like similar energies. So
yeah, that's
like, you kind of like, I hate to say like sibling vibes. Like
I know what you're saying. I think we get along really well. Just really childish banter. And look, when we first started like seeing each other, dating and stuff, like it definitely felt like that. But now we live together, so things have changed a little bit. But at the end of the day, I think wavelength, like we still can have fun together. I think that's really important, being able to laugh and like not take things so seriously. I'm still working on like not taking things so seriously, but he has always remained that silly, goofy self, and I think that's really funny and just like is super entertaining for me. Free entertainment. Love that for me.
Awesome. Do you have any advice to the audience how to, I don't know, relationship advice that you want to plug out there?
Relationship advice.
How to make it work? Anything you look for in particular?
I think I'm pretty picky when it comes to like people I want to date. I think some of my friends would beg to differ, but it's been a learning process, okay? Like, I definitely value like that goofy lightheartedness.
Someone that can make you laugh.
Yeah, and I really value someone who's really patient, because I'm not. So someone has to be there to kind of like calm me down and just make sure like bring me back down to earth. Like it's not that serious. Just chill out a little bit. Yeah, I think like just having those qualities is probably the most important for me. Yeah.
That's cool. And by the way,
Advice, I don't have any. Sorry, like you guys are on your own. I have no advice.
yeah, and by the way, do you know like what your Myers-Briggs personality type is? If you've done that test.
Yes, I have my MBTI.
Let me guess. It's
Okay.
E-N or S-P. E-N-F-P.
Wow, very close.
ESFP.
No,
Oh,
I'm an N.
N. E-N-F-P.
FJ.
FJ.
Yeah.
Wow.
You were really close.
Okay.
I don't know how people guess it so well, to be honest.
E is easy, right? And then N is because like you do psych, so it's like N is like kind of bigger picture.
Right, right.
But yeah, is your boyfriend the same or not?
He's ENFP, so
Wow,
I'm
you guys
ENFJ.
So you like organize stuff and he's just.
You know, all of my closest people are in ENFP. Yeah, my best friend's ENFP.
Wow.
Another girl that I know, like, she's in Canada though, but she's like,
Yeah.
we got along really well, ENFP as well. So yeah, I feel like that's like my vibe.
Yeah, are you pretty organized?
To an extent, yes.
Yeah.
I feel like it's,
That's the J.
yeah, that's the J part. It was, I think I've gotten less, like, not in terms of like organization, but I think I'm a little bit more spontaneous now.
Yeah.
Before, like when I'm traveling, for example, even now I still have like an itinerary, but it's less rigid. It used to be super rigid, like to the hour.
Yeah.
But now it's just like, oh, I think because I've like got the ENFPs around me.
Yeah.
I've a
Get
bit
with the flow, Daphne.
yeah, they just like kind of, I guess, molded me into like their little spontaneous, like, let's do this. I'm like, okay, let's do it now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. When I flip back to the entrepreneurship side of things, so you were 6 months in to the grad program, you quit, and at that point in time, did you have like, I don't know, a few regular customers, or what was the kind of vibe?
I think at that point I was like really popular for formals.
Yeah.
That was my main
that
gig.
specific season, yeah.
Yeah, so usually towards the end of the year, September, November time, that's when it's like peak formal season. And because I was doing my grad job from the first, well, like around, I think I started like February, March until like August. Literally like the second part of like the year was like full of formals anyway. So I was able to like, in a way, like carry myself during that time. But yeah, like it was busy then, and then January and February, like there's no formals, right?
Yeah.
There's no weddings. Like
Someone
there's
have a
barely-
party.
Yeah. Even then, you know, like it's just wasn't as busy.
Yeah.
So thinking from like a business standpoint, I was like, I need to do something to keep this up. So that's when lashes and brows were introduced. And
Yeah.
because there's technically, you don't really need an event to get those services done.
Yeah.
I was like, from a business standpoint, it makes sense. So I went to go learn and did all that. And that's when I added that to my service, and like now it's a good balance of everything now. Yeah. So I think had I not done that, I would have struggled a little bit more. But look, like I said, I had to balance it with part-time jobs at the time. And yeah, that's the reason why I had to, because just all year round, it wasn't going to be sustainable, especially when you first start.
Yeah, cool. And when you first quit, was there any kind of like pressure from the family or like the peer pressure, that kind of thing?
What do you mean by peer pressure?
I don't know, like, because I think a lot of people, they're kind of scared of how they're going to be perceived by others.
So
I don't know if like, yeah, like you're going to think, like, with your mum, was she like super worried about you at that time?
Oh yeah, for sure. Mum was a little bit like, I guess, apprehensive about me going to do this. Like, she's like, oh, you have a double degree, you did so well. Like, why are you throwing that away to do this? And I'm like, look, I get it. You know, like if I was an immigrant parent and I moved overseas for my children to have a better life, and they decided to become a makeup artist, I'd be just as pissed. Like, so I don't blame them, but at the same time, I think what made me, like, I guess, steer the narrative my way. It was like, look, Mum, this is my life. I think that's the Western side of me coming out. It's my life. You know, you've done your part in raising me to this point, but from now on, I've got the reins now, and I can choose what I to do. You know, I can be a starving artist, and I've chosen that life for myself. You know, whether or not it's the best way to go about it is another story, but I think at the end of the day, I'm going to be the one who's going to be the main character of my own life, and I won't let anything else really mold that. What was I saying before? What was the question?
Just like the peers, like how you're going to be perceived, and X, Y, Z.
I think for me, I wasn't deep enough into my career of like finance to feel that pressure or like feel ashamed to go down this pathway. If anything, it was actually breaking the mold and I thought it was cooler to do what I was doing. Like, no one else is doing that. Like, go me, right? No one was kind of being my mentor into this industry, or like I was a self-taught makeup artist. No one taught me at the time. I was just kind of like doing all the work that I could to get to this point, right? And to me, like that passion, that determination is much more impressive than going to uni and then following up with a grad job. Like looking for a grad position is always the most difficult part. I get that, but it's almost like the natural pathway. But whereas when you run your own business, it's definitely all up to you. Whatever you decide to do is on you.
Yeah.
So I think that's what pushed me through. It was just like, I love what I do. I just need to make it work so I can do it for a long time.
Yeah. And what about the part-time jobs that you picked up? Did you like, how was that kind of experience?
Just working along my passion? Like, what do you mean?
I guess you probably realised the following year that you needed more income because no one was having formals, right?
Yeah, that's right. So I was doing, I had like a checklist of like FOMO jobs, so fear of missing out jobs. Okay. So if I died tomorrow, what would I wish I had done?
Oh, okay.
If I hadn't, done it. So the first one was working at Apple.
Yeah. I actually met you once at Apple.
I don't remember. See, this is what I mean. My memory sucks.
I have bad memory, and I met someone who has worse memory than me. So historical moment.
Yeah. I don't think this is a flex though. It's definitely not a flex. But I did really enjoy my time while I was working at Apple. I met some really cool people. Yeah. You meet like a broad spectrum of people, and I think that was my favorite part, just getting to like learn about different people and their backgrounds and stuff like that. So really, really cool. I love my job there. Managers were amazing too. At least this is my experience, right? So I thought it would always be cool to work there. Every time I go into an Apple store, it's such a cool vibe, and all the workers there are really, really nice and very chatty. So I went to work there, and another FOMO job was dental assisting. Did that for a bit, and I also wanted to do work at Mecca, and that's where I'm currently working now. I just work there like once every few weeks, to be honest, and that's enough for me to just have like like a co-working space, because when you are doing your own thing, it does get quite lonely. And although I have amazing, beautiful clients, love them all, it's not the same as when you have a co-worker in that terms of like relatability and learning and just bouncing off each other, and you have the same kind of understanding of each other because of the job. Whereas when I'm like the client, me and my client relationship is more like a friendly relationship, right? But they can't relate to me as much on like a day-to-day like work-life kind of basis. Yeah. So that's the part where I was like, look, I still need to like maintain my sanity and work at a part-time job, whether or not I need it. I think just to help me like have that sociability, it's definitely something that I am very grateful for.
Yeah, cool. And how many years has it been since you started Daphne's Artistry?
I don't remember because I started mid-20. Did you say mid-2020? Yeah. So
like
4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was doing part-time for a bit. Only really went full-time last year.
Wow, congrats. Yeah.
Well, I mean, as full-time as you can be while working a casual job on the side, because I'm working at Mecca still.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like that's my main job. Like it's always been my side hustle.
Yeah.
Like Daphne's Artistry has always been my side hustle, but now it's like my main gig.
Yeah.
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 It's been a long journey.
And did you ever want to like give up on it at any point in time?
Oh yeah, I'm sure you can ask any business owner. Like instead of working the 9 to 5, I chose to work 24/7. That's literally what running a business is like.
Damn.
It's very different, but because I love it, it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
Like I'd be up until like past midnight, and I'm still working. And this was like more towards the beginning of the business, but it was just like I loved it. It doesn't matter. Like I still loved doing it. It was just like a little like Canva arts and crafts. Like it was just felt like it wasn't work.
Like the posters and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like it was very hard. And not hard, I would say it was long hours in the beginning, but I was always willing to be there for it.
And now would you say that you actually work more than 37.5 hours?
It's so hard to keep track of because like I'm on Instagram all the time, and that's how I like interact with clients and how most of them book in for the appointments. So it's like it's very back and forth. I don't even keep track. It just feels like I'm talking to a friend, like a first person I haven't met yet, but like just a friend, right? Emailing people. I just feel like it's admin work, but I don't feel exhausted. Like it's I don't really keep track of the hours, but working hours, like physical hours, like it varies week to week. Like some weeks can be like 30 hours, 40 hours, but then some weeks can be like 20. Like it's very different week to week, right?
Have you had it like where like 1 week no one books in?
Not recently. Definitely not recently. Definitely more like, I guess like more appointments lately because I've established myself. But in the beginning, 100%. This is exactly why you need to work part-time in the beginning. Yeah, to help yourself stay afloat, for sure.
Yeah, cool. And what's the best part of your job and what's the worst part?
Best part? Honestly, the clients. Like I wouldn't have met like most of them had I not run this particular business, right?
Yeah.
It's just fun. You like get to chat with them. You get to discover who they are. I don't know. They just like they're the reason I am like I have a business, right?
Yeah.
They come back, whether it's for me or it's for the work that I do. Like it's just always a good time, and I get to meet like so many different types of people. They also keep me really young because there's some TikTok terms that I don't understand and they like have to explain it to me. I sound like such a boomer like saying that, but I'm so grateful for them because I just like half of the references I just can't keep up with anymore. And then when like it comes to me hanging out with my friends, my circle of friends, they're like, what does this mean? I'm like, oh, don't worry, I got you. I know exactly what that means. Like just the other day, I just found out what TikTok Riz Party is. Do you know what that is?
No, what is it?
Exactly. There's so many things I just wouldn't have known. So I think like that would be my favorite part. But the worst part, I guess it's like not every week is routine. Because I'm a J, right?
Yeah.
Like I want like a bit of structure. Like say for example, if I don't have an 8 a.m. Appointment booked in, I'm not going to get up.
Yeah.
I don't like. I need a reason to get out of bed.
Yeah.
So if like I have like a person booked in at 10:30, you bet your ass I'm going to be up at 10.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to be out of bed if there's no reason for me to get up. So I think that structure, you've really got to have
someone please book the mornings.
Yes, but also no, I'm definitely a night owl. So it's a really tricky like line for me.
Yeah. You want it, but you don't.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's probably the trickiest part. You do have to be a bit more self-disciplined and like, you know, if you've got a plan for the next day to do X, Y, and Z, you've got to follow through and do X, Y, and Z. Whether or not it always works is another story, but I think because I have that slight J in me, I will get things done. But structure is definitely something I thrive with.
Cool. And what's it been like sort of growing your client base? Have you just like mainly just gotten through referrals or like Instagram ads? Or I received a bunch of your Insta ads. Good stuff.
Oh, look, I pay for those, so I'm glad it's working. I guess it's a bit of everything, really. I think these days there are so many, like, say, for example, lash techs out there
Yeah.
or brow artists out there. So it's like, well, do you always ask every person you see where they get their lashes done? Not always. If they look really good, then yeah, you would.
Yeah.
But like sometimes you see your friend who's on week 3, you know, lashes and they look manky, right? So you're not really going to ask those questions. But, you know, having like those posting stories and tagging your artist is always like a really nice thing to do. And even when it comes to makeup, like it's always nice for you, like any of you guys to like tag your artist because they would appreciate that so much. I think these days social media goes further than you think.
Yeah.
And word of mouth is also really important, but I feel like it's not as common these days. I think people are more inclined to tag like food spots than the actual artist, which is like, that's a food for thought. But it's just like all of those things like really help a lot. And yeah, running Instagram ads, they're like, I've always like done them here and there. I haven't done one in a while, and I was like, you know what? Let's just pick a random one and let's just go for it. And yeah, like I'm glad it's reaching the right people. And yeah, it's just, you just hope the algorithm does its thing and does its job and like attracts the right person. Yeah.
Cool. And do you think this is it? Like you found your passion? This is it?
Look, things can always change in the future. I think no one's supposed to do one job forever. That doesn't make sense to me. Like imagine working 50 years in the same job / industry. It just doesn't feel very, like, feels like you haven't lived life, you know? This is like a very, it's like a very small portion, but I would like to do this, right? I want to touch a lot of things. So we'll see how it goes in the future. Definitely is my passion for now. I love what I do. Whether or not I can take it overseas, like, you know, if I want to do something overseas, it's not as, I guess, doable because, you know, my client base is within Brisbane. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes in the future. But right now, this is it. Yeah.
Cool. And then just a few more questions before you wrap up. So the deep one, what do you think the meaning of life is?
Oh my
in
God.
your opinion?
Oh my God. Karen.
Yes, you're welcome.
It's a Tuesday afternoon. Did you say the meaning of life?
Yeah.
Oh, I think life is a game.
Nice.
It's a game where you have the control of doing whatever you want, obviously within reason and like without hurting others.
Yeah.
But I think most people should try different things and travel. Just having experiences, right? Like even for my birthday this year, I didn't really receive a tangible item for my birthday. Like my best friend booked me an appointment with a makeup artist. So she did my makeup, loved it.
Yeah.
Such a cool experience. And my boyfriend got me booked a dinner for like an omakase. So it's like when the Japanese chef like makes the food in front of you and serves it to you. And my girlfriends from high school, they got me tickets to see the Beauty and the Beast musical. So it's just like experiences, right? Rather than having things, I think you can always pay for those things yourself if you want it. But when it comes to like experiences, like I was like, oh, cool, I got to do this, I got to see that. Yeah, it's just nice to, I don't know, just be like, yeah, life is a game and you should experience everything.
Yeah, that's cool. And if you won the lottery tomorrow, what would you do differently about your life?
I would travel the world. Like,
More vlogs from Daphne.
yeah, Daphne 10. Like, it would definitely boom because we've got all the money in the world to do stupid stuff now. Yeah, I think I would love to travel more. Yeah. And move to New York or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
That would probably be my number one thing. And if anything, can start my Daphne's artistry over there. That'd be so fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what is an ideal day in life for you? It can be work-related, non-work related.
Ideal day in the life.
Yeah, what time do you wake up? What happens?
Like, I always want to be a morning person, but it's just
Yeah.
it just doesn't happen.
Those habits in primary school. Like,
No,
it's pretty
definitely,
hard to undo.
definitely a night owl. I don't know. A day in the life,
Yeah, what time do you like to wake up?
like, I don't know, like 8. I feel like that's already even
Solid.
late, but 8 is like a good time to wake up because it feels like it's not too late, not too early.
Yeah.
Just like, make myself a little matcha latte in the
Yum.
morning, journal for a bit, go out to a cafe, explore like different, like, I don't know, I love exploring different cafes, but food and drinks and stuff are so expensive these days. Anyway, there's another story. Ideal day. Sorry, I just can't answer this one. This one's a hard one. Like, there's too many options. I could like go skydiving one day, like, or I could just chill at a cafe.
That's cool. Like to good to know that the J is slowly dying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like day to day it's just kind of structured around what I have to do rather than what I want to do, because I don't even know what I want to do. I just do what I have to do for the day. Yeah, running errands and stuff. I think that's just adult life.
Cool. And the final question is, how's your podcast experience?
Yeah, it's been great. You've asked some really good questions. Like, the meaning of life. So random. Love it. Yeah, it's been great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, cool. Well, thanks for being on it. I hope the spontaneity didn't kill the J. I was like, we just usually make it up as we go.
Look, I'm adaptable. I'm very adaptable.
Very good. The ENFPs trained you well.
Yes, they have.
Yeah, cool. So we're at the end of the podcast. You want to say bye?
Bye. Thanks for watching.
Bye.